Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're so happy to be here with you this evening. We're going to start with a little bit of music to get our souls in the mood for our Shabbat service. We are but a week away from the High Holy Days, where we return to what we're told is the land of our souls. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to where you are, return to what you are, born and reborn, and return again. Return again, return to the land of your soul. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to where you are, return to what you are, born and reborn, and return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
So beautiful, Lisa. Thank you so much. What a wonderful way for all of us to enter Shabbat together. So nice to see you and be with you on this
Nice to see you
Erev
too.
Shabbat.
Shalom.
We're also thrilled tonight to welcome Annie Smith and her beautiful family to join us. Annie will be called to the Torah tomorrow as Bat
Hi
Mitzvah.
guys, nice to see you.
I said this beforehand. You guys have like quite the Zoom studio set up there at home. Kiddush, you are well prepared. And that's a beautiful looking challah. I can almost smell it from here.
Looks amazing.
So Lisa mentioned that next Shabbat we welcome Rosh Hashanah. So that makes this Shabbat the last Shabbat of the month of Elul, this month preceding the High Holy Days, this month in which we are meant to engage in the work of Cheshbon HaNefesh, of the accounting, the checking of our souls, the reflection and introspection that we do at this time of year that prepares us for Rosh Hashanah and for Yom Kippur. It's meant to be a time when we look back at the year that was, and we think about the pieces of it that we want to hold on to. We think about the pieces of it that we want to carry with us. And we think about who we want to be and the lives we want to live and the world we want to live in the new year. And so tonight throughout the service, I'm going to pose a couple of questions. And when you think about them, after you've had a few moments to think about them, we'll invite you to, for those of us watching us on Facebook Live, to put your answers, your thoughts relating to those questions in the chat, and we'll be referencing them and calling them out at different points during the service. And so in that spirit, the first question that I'd like to pose that we'll think about a little bit later is, what from this past year do you want to hold on to? What was good from this past year? What do you want to hold on to? What do you want to carry with you into 5781 from this year that we will bid farewell to next week? With that, we will welcome Shabbat with Shabbat light and with the lighting of our Shabbat candles. So I'll ask Annie and her family to light the Shabbat candles. We'll join with Cantor Peicott in the blessing, and then we'll make Kiddush and Motzi together.
Technical difficulty, folks. Technical difficulty.
There we go.
Mom.
I mean, the same thing happens in the chapel every week. The same thing happens in the chapel every week.
It's like nothing's changed. Beautiful. We're going to join together in the blessing for the lighting of candles. We circle our arms 3 times, inviting the light of Shabbat into our lives, once for ourselves, once for our families and those we love, and the 3rd time for our entire world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to invite you to grab your Kiddush glass as we sanctify this Shabbat together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemaaser v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zeichel yitziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchatanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
And last but not least, we grab our beautiful challah. The Smiths have a gourd. Did you guys bake that yourselves? That's beautiful.
We bought it.
Good answer. Good answer. It's beautiful. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the beginning of the service. I am so excited to join you guys tomorrow afternoon to celebrate the bat mitzvah of Annie. So much mazel to your entire family on this beautiful occasion. She's the baby of your family and it's her bat mitzvah. So we're so excited for you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mazel tov. Have a great night.
Thank you.
We're going to continue welcoming in Shabbat with the welcoming of our Shabbat angels. We're told by our rabbis that each Shabbat that there are 2 angels that come and visit our houses. And when we do it with the preschoolers, we have them peer in the windows to see what's going on in our homes. But we hope that there's lots of love and light and laughter and the joy that is Shabbat, so that the angels can look at one another and say, may this Shabbat always be as beautiful for each of us. We join in Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei
So a moment now to think more about that question we posed a few moments ago about what from this past year do you want to hold on to? What from this past year do you want to carry with you into the new year? And so if you haven't had a chance yet, please take a moment now, pop your answer to that into the chat. And if you're watching with us in Facebook, and I'm going to start reading some of these off as we think about, what is it from this year that we're going to hold on to? So Barry says that he wants, and Bailey, I should say that they want to hold on to the mitzvah of their son Derek's marriage. So beautiful, Barry and Bailey. Claire Goldsmith says that she wants to prioritize family and keep that as a priority in this new year. Rabbi Nickerson also says that he wants to prioritize the time that he and I think so many of us feel that we've been able to prioritize with family while staying at home, and let's not lose that in this new year. Jonathan says this idea that he was able to slow down and sort of just go with the flow more. Beautiful idea. Merle says that, again, her family seems to be a theme here for so many of us, that her family is the most important thing to us and her dear friends, and that she can slow down. So this idea, right, that I think is common, this idea of family, that we want to hold on to the moments that we've cherished these past 6 months. Maggie says that she wants to hold on to this sense of gratitude she's had during these dark times, that gratitude for her family, gratitude for her home, gratitude for sustenance, certainly have a way of putting things, I think, into perspective for all of us. Steve, thank you. You want to have a slower and a more attentive year and prioritizing health. Absolutely. Lynn, time to read. I couldn't agree more. Thankfully, I think I've made it through more books in the last 6 months than in the last 6 years, which is always a blessing and a treat. Absolutely. Lisa Beth says yes, to address people living alone, most certainly. So this idea of what we want to hold on to, I think is also very much a part of this Kabbalat Shabbat period in the service in which we find ourselves right now. Because Kabbalat Shabbat is really meant to be a review of the week that was. And traditionally, there's a psalm recited for each day of the week leading up to Shabbat, and then we culminate Kabbalat Shabbat with these words of Lecha Dodi, words of this ancient mystical acrostic poem. Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz comprised this poem, and if you take the first letter of each stanza, it spells his name. And so much of this experience of Kabbalat Shabbat is thinking about what was the good in the week that was, and what do we want to carry with us into Shabbat. And so we'll join together in the words of Lecha Dodi as we welcome the Shabbat bride and welcome Shabbat together.
Shamor וזכור
בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, יאי לי לי, יאללה לי לי לך דודי, יאללה לי לי לקראת כלה, יאללה לי לי פני שבת, פני שבת
So now the other side of the coin. What is it from this past year that you'd like to let go of, to leave behind as we move into a fresh and new, sweet year? So I'll invite you to put those thoughts in the chat box now, and we'll come back to them a little bit later during the service. And in the meantime, we'll rise for the Baruch Hu.
We're going to join together for the recitation of the watchword of our people, the words of the Shema. The Shema, of course, means to listen. And within our tradition, we're encouraged to listen to all of the different voices around us, to the different people that surround us. But during this time, we're a week away from Rosh Hashanah, 2 weeks away from Yom Kippur. Our tradition really urges us that during this last 7 weeks that we Shema, that we listen to what's called that still small voice that's inside all of us. What is that voice trying to say? What is that voice yearning for? What does that voice want to do in the world? And so I encourage you, as we take a nice, nourishing, deep breath for the Shema, that you open your ears not just to the sounds that are around you, but that you open yourself to that still small voice that's inside of you.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
We join together in the words of the Ve'ahavta, words of action that we have to take in this planet to build a world of love.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Rabbi, I think you're muted. Are you muted?
I was
There
muted.
we go. Oh,
So
you
now a
did it.
moment to think about, I did it. Now an opportunity to think about that which we want to let go of as we move into this new year and really make a fresh start. Maggie wants to let go of some of the underlying resentment and anger that she feels. Certainly a really, really good way to make a fresh start. Steve hopes that we let go of the divisiveness and the toxicity that has been such a part of this last year for so many of us. Merle wants to see all of us have a better attitude and again to be a little bit less toxic. Jonathan wants to leave all the negatives behind and to rise up to be a stronger, more positive person, help others make a small or big difference. When I think about leaving things behind, I often think about how hard it must have been for our ancestors enslaved in Egypt. And that as painful as that was and as difficult as that was, it was comfortable and it was known. And to leave that life behind and venture out into the wilderness, venture out into the unknown, must have been scary, must have been difficult. So many of us, I think, when making changes like that in life, are reticent to do so. It's comfortable to stay in a job or a relationship that may not be right for us because it's comfortable and easier than venturing out into the unknown. So for our ancestors to leave Egypt, to flee, to cross the sea, to wander in the desert, required them to let go of the life they knew and the life that had been comfortable to them in the hopes of something greater, in the hopes of something new. And in so many ways, that's exactly what we do as we enter Rosh Hashanah. So let's join together in Micha Mocha as we think about that very moment. We come now to Hashkivenu, to our evening prayer in which we ask God to spread a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace over us and over our world and those we love. And I think perhaps particularly on this Shabbat, as the air outside is not comfortable to breathe, as fires rage across the entire West Coast, as we battle heat waves and what seem like so many modern plagues perhaps, we do truly ask God to spread a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace, over us and over those we love and over our world on this Shabbat.
השיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
We'll rise now for the Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד אתה, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, נאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
We continue with the remainder of our Amidah silently, either with the words of the Amidah or the words of our hearts.
There's a prayer that comes at the end of our Amidah. The prayer is called Elohai Netzor. And I wanted to offer it this evening because it seems like we are living in just such divided times. Whatever side of the political spectrum you are on, the toxicity that exists and the way that people are talking to each other, we're not seeing each other made as B'Tselem Elohim. And so this prayer says, "My God, guard my speech from evil and my lips from deception. Before those who slander me, I will hold my tongue. I will practice humility. Open my heart to your Torah, that I may pursue your mitzvot. As for all who think evil of me, cancel their designs and frustrate their schemes. Act for your own sake, for the sake of your power, for the sake of your holiness, for the sake of your Torah, so that your loved ones may be rescued. Save with your power and answer me." I pray this evening that we all have the ability, as we approach Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that one thing that we can control is we can control how quick we are to anger, and we can control how it is that we speak to one another. The prayer Elohai Netzor.
אלוהי נצור לשוני מרע ושפתיי מדבר מרמה, אבל אם כללי נפשי תדום ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי. אלוהי אלוהי נצור לשוני מרע ושפתיי מדבר מרמה, אבל אם כללי נפשי תדום ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי. אלוהי אלוהי נצור לשוני מרע ושפתיי מדבר מרמה, אבל אם כללי נפשי תדום ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי. אלוהי פתח ליבי, פתח ליבי, פתח ליבי בתורתך. אלוהי נצור לשוני מרע ושפתיי מדבר מרמה, אבל אם כללי נפשי תדום ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי. אלוהי אלוהי נצור לשוני מרע ושפתיי מדבר מרמה, אבל אם כללי נפשי תדום ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי. אלוהי
So beautiful, Cantor Peicott. I think I've told you this before, but that's one of my absolute favorite contemporary settings, I think, of any piece of liturgy in our prayer book. Donnie
That's mine.
really, really knocked it out of the park with that one. I remember not that many years ago, but many years ago, being at Havanashira in Economawalk, Wisconsin with him when he shared that, I think for one of the very first times, and just something magical about it.
Yeah, it encapsulates everything.
Absolutely. Well, we take a few moments to admit our joy and our celebration on the Shabbat to think of loved ones and family members who are in need of healing, who are in need of wholeness. And in just a moment, we'll offer a Misha Berach, a prayer of healing for them. If you're thinking of someone tonight who could use a bit of healing, a bit of wholeness, I invite you to call their name to mind, to hold them in your hearts. If you want, you can place their name in the chat, or just treasure them within you, as together we join in these healing words of Mishberach.
Avotenu mekol habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekol habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Rabbi, I think you might be muted.
One of the things that I would like to let go of from this past year is forgetting to unmute myself while leading services on Zoom. So Jewish guilt, which I'm feeling a little bit of right now for making a faux pas for which I berate other people for on Zoom meetings and suggest to them, it's been 6 months since we've all been in this new world using Zoom. You think we would figure out how to use it a little better by now. But Jewish guilt is nothing new. And this week, as Moses prepares for his death, he lays a major guilt trip on our ancestors. He says to them, well, I know how defiant and stiff-necked you are. Even now, while I'm still alive and in your midst, you've been defiant toward God. And how much more then when I'm dead? For I know that when I'm dead, you'll act wickedly and you'll turn away from the path that I enjoined upon you. And that in time to come, there will be misfortune that will befall you for having done evil in the sight of the Eternal, whom you vexed by your deeds. Yes, that's a pretty good Jewish guilt trip. And Jewish guilt is the punchline of so many Jewish jokes, usually involving mothers. Don't worry about me, I'll sit in the dark. But guilt is also a very, very powerful tool for honing an individual soul and for shaping a whole society. And guilt is one of the most useful tools that we carry in our toolbox during this High Holy Day season. This season when we take an accounting of our souls, when we look deep inside and we're trying to be reflective and introspective and really, really think about who we are and who we want to be. During this High Holy Day season, on Rosh Hashanah and on Yom Kippur, we gather together in public, but to do a very private thing. We tally our sins. We tally our shortcomings. The Machzor's endless list of sins, endless lists of all the ways we've missed the mark, come to teach us that we are only accountable for our actions and our inactions. We are not called by the Machzor to change our whole person, but simply our deeds, simply our behavior, our actions and our inactions. Moses did not say in his rebuke, "You are wicked." He said, "You act wickedly." He did not threaten God will be vexed by you. Rather, he warned God will be vexed by your deeds. Similarly, the high holy days do not say to us, be ashamed of who you are. They say, do better. Be better. You are created in the image of God. Now act like it. When we drop all of our pretensions, all of our excuses, and when we carry our guilt in our hands and offer it up as a kind of sacrifice on the altar, God will not reject that. But in the words of the Haftarah this week, God will take us back in love. In this way, the high holy days are really a kind of homecoming. The poet Robert Frost famously wrote that home is the place where when you go, they have to let you in. So on this final Shabbat of Elul, this final Shabbat before Rosh Hashanah, we are reminded that throughout this season, as the Machzor puts it, the gates are always open. Shabbat Shalom. Just a few brief announcements before we begin to conclude our service this evening. A very special thank you to Annie and her family for being with us tonight, and a special mazel tov to her as she's called to the Torah tomorrow as bat mitzvah. Annie, we're so proud of you and so happy for you and your family. Tomorrow night, we are partnering with our friends at Stephen Wise Temple, at Sinai Temple, at Valley Beth Shalom to create a very, very special slichot service and learning opportunity for all of us to watch online together. It's really the kickoff and beginning to the High Holy Days as our prayers focus on transgression and atonement, forgiveness. So join us tomorrow night, beginning, I believe it's 6:30, the first learning session begins. And lots of wonderful options to learn and prepare ourselves for the season, and then join together in a slichot service, which will begin with Havdalah. Everything you need to know about the upcoming High Holy Days is being mailed to all of you shortly. Contains information about all of our services, full of other goodies that you can use at home to enrich and think about the High Holy Days in a deep and meaningful way. We hope you're enjoying our Elul videos every day. You've heard one of us teaching a bit, some little food for thought for this month of Elul to help us all prepare. We're sending one out each and every day. And during this time that is so unprecedented and so different for us because we're not able to be together physically. We are virtually, but not physically. This will be a High Holy Day season unlike any other. And because of that, we're offering a very unique experience to spend some private, meaningful moments in the sanctuary, sacred space that has provided hope and healing to so many of us for almost 100 years. And over the next week or two, you'll have an opportunity if you want to sign up for a time to come to the sanctuary. We have to keep it small groups at a time, obviously, because of COVID policies and procedures. But if you're interested, you have any questions, you can visit us on our website, or you can contact Rabbi Nickerson. Last but not least, we hope you're getting our daily emails. We hope you're following us on social media. Obviously, those of you who are watching us on Facebook Live are definitely following us on social media. If you don't follow us on Facebook, please do. If you don't follow us on Instagram, please do. It's one of the best ways that you can always know exactly what we're doing, and you can always enjoy as much of the content that so many of us who you see, but also so many of us who you don't see, work very hard to bring to all of us during these times. And with that, we're going to take one more moment of Elul. So there's a tradition during the month of Elul that the shofar is blown every single day. because the shofar is really meant to be a wake-up call, really meant to urge us and prod us in this process of reflection and turning and change. And so at this time, we will listen, we will hear the sound of the shofar.
Tekiah.
That listening and hearing the sound of the shofar, for those who don't know, is actually the only commandment associated with Rosh Hashanah. We might think that the commandment is to blow the shofar, but it's actually not. It's to listen, to hear the sound of the shofar, and to be stirred by it, stirred enough that we do the hard work that it takes to change for the better and have a fresh start. We turn our thoughts now to sacred moments of memory, to moments of Kaddish, as we think of loved ones, family members, members of our community who are no longer with us. We begin by thinking of those for whom we are in a period of shloshim, those who have died during these past 30 days, as we call to mind Lila Aftergood, Ellen Cohen, Raphael Cohen, Zena Davis, Samuel Engelman, William Lerner, Hans Lindy, Saul Marenberg, and Ruth Shapiro. We add to their names the names of those whose yartzites occurred during this past week: Adeline Applebaum, Marietta Bach, Helen Baer, Fred Barbanel, Samuel Bauman, Gordon Bodek, Lawrence Chizik, Ann Cohen, Wolf Davis, Gladys Ehrlich, Barbara Flicker, Ted Flicker, Joseph Fogarty, Elsie Fogelman, Sam Foreman, Milton Fox, Joan Freyberg, Hyman Galpert, Glenn Goldstein, Joni Gordon, Mac Gordon, Stella Gorin, Cole Grossflam, Robert Heyman, Paula Morgan Harris, Martin Hertz, Laurel Hobbs, Kitty Hockman, Betty Howard, Paul Hunter, Zeev Karkomi, David Cassoy, Jack Caston, Russell Cavanaugh, Irving Korn, Lisa Laxer, Mitchell Lerner, Helen Levin, Joan Levy, Howard Lynn, Lorraine Lowy, Danny Mandel, Sadie Mizrahi, Don Murr, Phil Pachulski, Irma Phillips, Stephen Plager, Irene Polikoff, Mildred Sack, Carl Rosen, Ruth Rosen, John Schlegenhaft, Margit Schlonberger, Leah Serlin, Helen Chapeau, Belle Siegel, Emmanuel Sogoloff, Thelma Sills, Millicent Small, Kurt Stern, Ava Teichholz, Shirley Turtle, Shirley Wind, Robert Wynn, and Philip Zevitz. We also call to mind on this September the 11th all those victims of senseless terrorism 19 years ago, as well as all the victims of senseless terrorism and violence all over the world, and those who have fallen defending the flags of the United States of America and the State of Israel. Zichronam livracha, may their memories always be for a blessing. We join together in the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach v'teh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chaye echon v'yom echon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv imru, amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mehorach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha berichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imeru, amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen.
We conclude our service with the words of Oseh Shalom, a prayer for peace.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
And
Shalom,
Shana
Rabbi
Tova.
Shapiro. Shana Tova. We hope
Shabbat
to see so
Shalom,
many of you
Cantor,
tomorrow
Peicott.
evening. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to where you are, return to what you are, born and reborn and return again. Return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to where you are, return to what you are, born and reborn and return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.